Hi friends, welcome to CodeNet, and today we want to understand how we can configure and connect the three native softwares that we'll be working with in PHP. The local host, which is the Xampp server, the one we are from downloading in our previous session, including the IDE, which is Visual Studio, to find out also the actual directory where we need to be saving our documents, and finally how we can access the same PHP document once we've switched on the ports or the services in Xampp server for we to see and to hopefully be executing and seeing how the output will be being when we go on our browser, which is Google Chrome, the one I'm using right now. But you can use Edge, you can use Firefox, any browser. Just follow the same syntax and steps as we proceed in configuring these files. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to launch our Xampp server, our local host server, which is acting like a web server, which is Xampp server as the server that we downloaded from our previous session. I'm on my desktop right now. So definitely I want to open and of course switch on the two services that are needful for my programming and for it to be of course executing the code that I will be sending to it before they are to be shown in the browser, which is Google Chrome, the one I'm using. So just search for Xampp, and definitely immediately when you search for Xampp, it will pop up from the result window that we can see, and click on where it says open. Immediately when you open, Xampp server should, of course, its interface should be shown, and from there that's where we will switch on our services. I'm sure you can tell that it's on, and this is the actual Xampp server for me. This is the one I'm using. Yeah, I don't know if you're using anything, but I am using Xampp server, the one we are from downloading in our previous session. So the two services that we need to switch on or to start is simply the Apache server. This needs to start, and immediately when you start, of course, you see some numbers popping up on the screen. You have the port numbers and the PIDs that are of course showing. And another service that you need to switch on is simply MySQL. Immediately when you switch on MySQL, immediately when you start the service, some numbers including the port number will also show up, and like this, then we are done with the Xampp server. This is what we just need to do with the Xampp server. Just start the services, Apache service and MySQL as a service. And then from here, we need now to launch our actual, the very actual IDE that we'll be using to implement our code. So please just come down, and of course when you click on the window button, definitely just search for Visual Studio, because this is the actual IDE that we've downloaded as the IDE that we'll be using to implement our code. Visual Studio, and when you click on open, it will also open up, and immediately when it opens, we'll see its interface up and running. So this is the interface that I have. I'm sure you are also having the same interface depending on the Visual Studio you're having and anything related to that. So here definitely you can go on where it says file, because we want definitely to create a new file which will be based on PHP. It will have the extension .php. Definitely here on the drop down menu, you will see where it says new text file, or simply click on Ctrl N for a shortcut if you're using Windows. If you do that, definitely an editor will pop up, a new editor. So this editor, if you click on enter, it will even be clear. And right now we can just implement the syntax for PHP for we to test if this editor is working, as we will go and save in the respective directory where we need to save all the PHP files that we'll be working with. So to implement the actual syntax, simply do that, which is a less than sign, also a question mark, then followed by the keywords PHP. Then from there, definitely denote the ending of this script for PHP, and in here let's just print out for now. Even if you don't understand, just print out by saying echo. Definitely we'll say hello hello world. Definitely, let's print a hello world as simply something that we'll use for we to test if our services are up and running in the Xampp server, and of course for we to test if we will save the document in the right directory. Now, since the document, yes, we've implemented the syntax for PHP and anything related to that, but the document isn't yet titled. We've not given the document any name, and in addition to that, we've not actually even saved this document with the extension .php, hence it is not yet a PHP file. So to save the document, PHP documents are not saved anyhow. They are saved in their respective directory. Go again on where it says file. If you love shortcut, just click on Ctrl S if you're using Windows, and down here on the new drop down menu, you see where it says save with a Ctrl S as a shortcut, of course, if you love shortcuts. And immediately when you click on save, definitely you'll be taken to this PC as the very first directory where you'll be directed. Now you can tell that I have 3 partitions. If you are not taken to this PC, please check on the icons here and find on where it says this PC, like mine it's here, that's where I am. So click on it, then you'll be taken to a directory that looks like this one. Then from here you can tell that I personally have at least 3 partitions. There is local disk C, I have local disk of course E, which says data files, and then I also have system H. Now with Xampp server and PHP, all the files should be saved in local disk C, the very primary partition. I'm sure we understand the very primary partition. So go on where it says local disk C. Immediately when you click on local disk C, under the folders that are available in local disk C, down you see a folder which says Xampp, or search for Xampp. If it's not down, double check to see where it says Xampp. Immediately when you find Xampp, click on it, and definitely when you click on that, you see another folder which is of course entitled htdocs, and here it is number 6 on my folders, htdocs. That's where we should go, not in any other file or folder. Whenever you go on htdocs, here you can create of course a new folder where you will be saving the files that we will be using inside our course of PHP. So I will create of course a new folder, new, and I will save this folder as first folder, or if you want you can save it as practicals or anything. So I will save this folder as first folder, and then I will also click on enter to save that. So inside first folder, immediately you open, that's where you need to place now the file that we are from coding in the IDE, which is Visual Studio, and I will name this file as file 1. I will name this as file 1, and down here of course where we are seeing the file name, that's where you should name it as file next. That's where you should name it as file 1, and down on the save as type, make sure it is written PHP. If it is not written PHP, click on the same field and the pop-up of course will show up, and from there find where it says PHP and click on where it says PHP definitely, and it will show that okay, the save as type is now at PHP. So meaning this file that I will be saving right now is simply having now the extension file1.php. Immediately when I save, even now you can tell that yeah, my document is now even saved, because even here we have now the name file1.php. Hence I've saved my document with the extension .php. Now to be running each and every code, we'll be opening our browser. Of course I am using Google Chrome. Down here you can tell that I'm on Google Chrome. If I click on it, definitely it should pop up, and once it pops up, I need to specify now. Here I need to specify actually now the actual directory where I am saving my document. So I'm saving my document of course using my localhost as a server. So I will say okay, localhost localhost. Of course, that is definitely the very thing. Then from there, I will put a / and definitely the name of the folder where you've saved your files, which is first folder. That is the name that I gave to the folder where I saved the file, which I named file1.php. Another, of course, definitely a /. Then the name of the file, which is of course for my file1 with the extension .php. Like this, it means yes, I will definitely access the file, and I'm sure you can tell that definitely I've saved and I'm using a valid URL, because once I click on the blue link, it will definitely take me to the actual document which I am working on. Hello world. This is the very actual document which I actually prepared in my IDE, because I wanted to echo or print out hello world on the actual file which I have now seen in my browser, which is Google Chrome. So you should be following the same syntax for you to follow us step by step as we proceed with the coding that is highly related to PHP. So this is how we integrate Xampp, an IDE, and the browser for we to be doing the work. And of course, you can tell here that definitely I have my Xampp server up and running, because it is definitely running. All the services are running. My Apache is running. My SQL also, the service, I've started that service. Don't worry about the other services. It's fine even if they are not up and running. So this is the basic knowledge we can give for now on the integration of Xampp server, the IDE, and the actual browser, where we'll be seeing the results that we'll be doing and be working on in the IDE. For example, here I just said hello world. For example, I can say hi, PHP is funny. Definitely my document is even on autosave, Ctrl S to save. Definitely if I refresh now my browser, we will see hi, PHP is funny. So meaning they are now working on one connection. We've connected the Xampp server, the IDE, and the browser. Let's proceed on our next session as we now begin understanding what PHP is and how we can work with PHP based on the different basics that it has. Please don't forget to subscribe, and you are on CodeNet.